We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years, approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education will tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, get a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the mountain. Good evening in the central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the Reparationist Perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering, family. And today, family, is like every day as freedmen in this country with 3 Ks. Here we have Biden choosing to appeal to Congress for more of our reparations to make more immigrants, more refugees, more American than we have ever known. With our reparations, family, let's get into it. Welcome to the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Shout out to everybody in the new Black media putting in work overtime, exposing the Democrats, exposing the Republicans. Yeah, it's great to be in extraordinary company. Shout out to those of you who have blessed the broadcast. I want to give a special shout out to Kimberly Mitchell. I mean, when she comes, she drops the bomb. It's not that I love all contributions to the broadcast. Trust and believe me when I tell you, no gift is too great or too small. It all richly blesses me to be in this space, edutaining the masses, and advocating a full court press for the reparations we are long overdue. So I just want to give special mention to Kimberly Mitchell because she goes hard in the paint for the reparationist perspective, as you all do, in the way that you join me live, in the way that you share my broadcast, knowing that I'm being shadow banned for talking against the Biden administration, for talking against the pandemic, for talking against the Republicans, for talking against the weaponization of immigration against freedmen, to ethno-genocide us right about this piece. I thank each and every one of you for every way in which you make the reparationist perspective relevant to the masses, because it's going to take critical mass for us to turn this Titanic around. It's going to take critical mass for us to get up off this bottom of this country's capitalism. We are on the bottom as the anchor. It's time to trade places. We done did this L for the capitalism for 500-600 years. We got to continue to lean in, family. So let me share my screen. Let's get into it. Thank you, one and all. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm in the middle of mommy mode, so between cooking and running around to the grocery store, I didn't get time to get glam for y'all, so y'all have to see my avatar. It is what it is. But the show must go on. That's what I do know. So let's get on over here and start with this from the beginning with Jen Psaki's puckery. Here we go.
Okay.
Is the U.S. prepared to accept Ukrainian refugees?
We are, but we certainly expect that most, if not the majority, will want to go to Europe in neighboring countries. So we are also working with European countries on what the needs are, where there is capacity. Poland, for example, where we are seeing an increasing flow of refugees over the last 24 hours, or flow of individuals, I should say, out of Ukraine, what their needs are. And we've been talking and engaging with Europeans about that for some time now.
And let's fast forward, family. Let me stop that share, okay? And let's fast forward only 2 days later. 2 days later, here we are in New York City. Wait, first, before I get to New York, this is what I learned about before New York. The White House is asking Congress for an extra $6.4 billion with the B dollars to help Ukraine. Let me keep that one going while I read from another one. Hold on, family. Welcome to the live, my loves. Let's leave that one there and get into this. So, the White House, this is Politico, I'm reading from, shortly after what Jen Psaki said, it's been a full court press to help out Ukrainians. While the plans for freedmen is ethno-genocide. The Biden administration is seeking $3.5 billion in additional military funding, plus $2.9 billion for humanitarian and security assistance. They asked Congress on Friday for $6.4 billion to aid Ukraine as it fends off a Russian invasion, including $3.5 billion in Pentagon funding and $2.9 billion for foreign security and humanitarian assistance. Now, let me stop right there because I've been helping to circulate this awesome meme. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. That simply states how hypocritical this country is. They're strongly condemning Russia's attack on the Ukraine, while our borders remain wide open for every manner of criminal and drug lord to cross over into the country freely and be given our reparations to be made more American us in our communities where we being ethno-genocide right about the communities. And yet, let's talk about this country's attacks on Syria, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, while they're sitting up here condemning Russia's attack on the Ukraine. Stick a pin in it. Biden administration officials briefed congressional appropriations and leadership staff on the funding proposal, which is expected to evolve as the administration works with international partners to assess on-the-ground needs, according to a White House budget office official. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Putin is threatening nuclear devastation and decimation of the entire world. So, Friedman, thanks to the Democrats and the Republicans alike, our numbers are dropping. Our numbers are on the decline between the Glacier Donkey race soldiers executing us, black on black crimes and murder, which we all know is economics. You see, when you rob a people of resources, when you establish preschool to prison pipelines, when you commit CIA, the war on drugs in our communities, and lock up our crack addicted and our crack dealers, and you remove the black man from the home, you render him jobless, you render him underemployed if he's got a job, right? You leave it to the women to wear the pants and to wear the skirt, trying to raise their children on a median national income of $41,000, the lowest of all the groups in this country, when the median home price nationwide is over $400,000. So freedmen are literally on fire. Black on black crime and murder, the police executing us with impunity, abortions. Last time I saw a report, we were at 20 million. That was years ago. I don't know what that number is now, because when you make a people poor, they can't afford their children. And the ones that are giving birth to their children are basically putting their kids in the foster care system to be raised. Or they got mental issues and they're abusive to the children, right? So we've got all these issues as Biden keeps our borders wide open for all manner of illegal to come in here and now get the right to vote in most states that are sanctuary states, that is. And you bring these refugees over here. You create the problem and then want our reparations to be the solution to make all these other groups more American than freedmen have ever been in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Notice, none of this required a study. When they gave $1 bazillion more to the Indians, more recently, Coon Clyburn's Catawba Indian bill that he was so proud of for the very Catawba Indians that used to own us as slaves. You've got descendants, black descendants of Creole and of Seminole and Cherokee Indian enslavement who have yet to see a dime of the reparations per the 1866 treaty. But these particular tribes sold the right to be Indian to white folks for $5. And so they're sitting on the majority of these boards. And so this country is fully invested in giving them as much reparation as into perpetuity. And enable these Indians to make upward of $30,000 a month on tax-free casinos and land. And so none of it requires a study. There was no study required. Hello, Barack Obama, to give Jews $12.5 million towards a Holocaust that we really didn't have any hand in. Well, we did in a nefarious kind of underhanded way, in the way we allowed that to go on. But that wasn't our monkey nor our circus, and yet we are even, Barack Obama awards the Jews $12.5 million towards their Holocaust while saying no to freedmen reparations. All the money, look at all the money they wasted on that Afghanistan travesty. 20 years, trillions of dollars spent on that war, only for those soldiers to run and let the Taliban have it anyway. All the lives it cost, all the money it cost, didn't require a study. Why? Because they make money off of war, giving contracts to their buddies. They make money off poverty. They're poverty pimps. The biggest welfare kings and queens ever known to the free world, as Hillary Rodham Clinton calls Black women welfare queens. There is no bigger welfare king and queen than corporate with 3 Ks, America with 3 Ks. And this government where the Dixiecrats and the Republicans still dominate. Okay? So please, they didn't require a study to give more money to white Indians that used to own us. Well, I don't know if they were white when we were owned, but they sure enough sold $5 doors. On the Dawes rolls, they got $5 white Indians who are benefiting from the recent monies and land and casino tax-free that Kuhn Clyburn was proud to have signed on. He's got the 6th poorest district in the nation. We got over 400 districts. Please be sure to vote. MarcelForCongress.com. Bless that money with bless that brother with recurring payments. Put up your Starbucks money to get this brother in office to unseat Kuhn Clyburn so we can get a real reparationist down there in South Carolina to really be about those people. We may not have the Democrats' money, but we certainly still have our vote. Not for much longer, because the plans to ethno-genocide and make us a permanent bottom caste are just about complete. Our only saving grace is that Biden has enriched these immigrants so tough that once they earn $50K and greater, they usually switch from the Democratic Party, from the Dixiecrats to the Republicans. That's our only saving grace, but we must weaponize the vote while we still have a chance to weaponize the vote. We are out of time. Back to the text. Lawmakers are considering including the new request as part of a broader spending package that leaders are working to finalize by the March 11 funding deadline, according to a leadership aide. The $2.9 billion will go to the State Department and the U.S. Agency for International Development to provide security assistance to Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania, the Baltics, and Eastern flank allies. That money would also be used to fend off Russian cyber attacks, counter disinformation, and assist with economic stabilization, as well as provide humanitarian aid, including emergency food and energy assistance. All this money going over there, when half the homeless families, over half the homeless families in this country are freedmen. The administration identified $3.5 billion in funding requirements stemming from the deployment of thousands of troops to Central and Eastern Europe and related measures to reassure NATO allies. The Pentagon has deployed thousands of troops to Europe this month, including 5,000 troops rushed to Poland. President Joe Biden signed off on a deployment of 7,000 additional troops to Germany on Thursday. The Biden administration's request comes as lawmakers from both parties called for a substantial increase in emergency aid to Ukraine, which came under siege this week from Russian forces. Oh, yeah. The white supremacists coming to the aid of the white supremacists. Let's get into it. Welcome to the live. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. If you feel so compelled, please bless the broadcast so I can edutain the masses and advocate for freedmen reparations exclusively. Thank you. I can't see you, Facebook. I can't see you, Twitter. Welcome to the live. Let's get into it. This is all about white supremacists protecting white supremacists. Here we go. Ukraine crises. Racism claims start to emerge. Africans can't flee. And this is why the Africans in this country are trying to take our place. They're not free to be black nowhere in the world. Neither are we here, but we are their first line of defense, you see. When this country craps on us, Africa gets to advance. I've already shared with you in prior broadcasts that African blacks here in, let me make sure you guys can see. Hold on. African blacks here in California have 152,000 in total assets per a 2016 Color of Wealth LA report, as compared to freedmen black in that same report, 30,000 total assets. Their liquidity is 60,000 to our 200 liquidity in the 2016 Color of Wealth LA report. So let's get into it. And I'm going to share a video with you. As millions of people attempt to leave Ukraine and seek refuge in neighboring countries, a disturbing trend has surfaced, namely Africans allegedly being discriminated against. Several videos and accounts have emerged over the past 24 hours or so from Africans and other people of color who claim they are not being allowed to board certain trains and other modes of transportation to flee Ukraine. And they think it's because of the color of their skin. I don't think they think. I think they know. Okay, so here is a video. The official visuals of Ukrainians blocking Africans from getting on the trains. Please don't do this. Don't do this. So there you have it, family. Let me get out of that so I can go back. Let me see to the article. I want to put this title up while I continue to read from another feed. Forgive the pop-ups, honey. They're getting on my last nerve. It is what it is. Hold on one second, fam. I want to keep that title go while I finish reading the article. Yeah, so isn't that very reminiscent, family, of the Haitians that were being whipped at the border? And these are the very blacks that come into the country, and the minute they get a handle on our reparations and our tax-paying dollars to become more American than us, they give us their asses to kiss and call us all manner of akata and all kinds of names and things of this nature. You see how quickly they get in bed with white supremacy when they're in this country, right? Start to treat us like a plague. Now back to the text. This mostly appears to be happening at the Ukrainian-Polish border in the northwest region, where many allege that border agents and local police are literally letting white Ukrainians hop on in while refusing access, or at the very least, limiting access to black people. Oh, you probably have to be about as fair as Kamala Harris with a relaxer in order to be one of the exceptions. You've got to be able to pass for white, more than likely, if there are any exceptions at all. Multiple clips appear to show scores of African migrants and or expatriates being left behind at train stations, and not just that, but actually being pushed back as they try to enter. Okay, so this is more shocking footage emerging on social media of black Africans not being allowed to cross the border out of Ukraine. Only Ukrainians are allowed, hundreds of Africans stranded. So let me come over here and share that video. Please don't do this. Don't do this. Okay, that looks pretty much the same to me, family. I don't see the difference. I don't know why TMZ felt compelled to show that twice. Let me go back. Welcome to the live, Derek. I saw you, fam. I'll get to your comments momentarily. Back to the text. One clip shows a group of Africans who appear to have weapons drawn on them, and they shout that they are unarmed students. Tensions escalating quickly. It's unclear who exactly may be deciding who's able to book it out of there first and how, but the feeling among those on standby, in some cases for days, it seems, is that they're a second-rate class. While we in this country are being made fourth class, as immigration is on the rise and our numbers are decreasing. Watch how they are threatening to shoot us. We are currently at the Ukraine-Poland border. Their police and army refuse to let Africans cross. They only allow Ukrainian. Some have slept here for 2 days under the scorching cold weather, while many have gone back to Lviv. Let's just see what this is, y'all. It looks like it might be different. Let me get you down there and see.
Everybody go down. Everybody go down. You are dying of cold. We've been here for 3 days. We died of cold. 3 days. This is unfair. This is unfair. Why point guns and foreigners? Why point guns and guns? Why point guns on us? You have to find your right to fight. Please, go live on Instagram. We don't have arms. We don't have guns. We are students. We are students.
Well, family, I'm going to have to stop sharing that because I don't want a copyright strike. You know how they do. The BBC. Let me go over there instead of the TMZ. Hold on, y'all. Nigeria condemns treatment of Africans. Let's finish the TMZ article. I can finish reading it. I just didn't want to flash it up there for long because they look for any reason to shut my videos down. Okay, so I got through that one. Hey, there's another one. It's a fair question, especially if what looks to be happening here is in fact going down as described. There isn't much context in a lot of the videos beyond what's being claimed by the person on camera and or the person posting it. Oh, we know what time it is, y'all. Still, it looks damning on the face of things. You think? Many users, African American and otherwise, are sounding off online, noting that even when Black people show solidarity against a nation in crisis, those on the ground still might have to go above and beyond for a shred of dignity or mere safety, while others are being afforded exactly that without a blink of the eye. That's the consensus anyway. Okay, look at this. I'm going to show this one, y'all. I got to show this one. Hold on. Let me go back. Just keep it in prayer that it won't get no copyright strikes, y'all. Now, this one here is how Ukrainian forces are pushing aside the Black girl while they allow a white girl. Hold on. Get the likes up, thumbs up, thumbs up. That's how I get more people to see me. It impacts the algorithms when you give the video a thumbs up, family. Okay. Ukraine police pushing a Black young girl off the train. Here we go.
Black girl go. They're pushing her. They're not letting her go. They're not letting her go. Is it right? Is it right? They're not letting the black girl go. 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 The black girl go. They're pushing her. They're not letting her go. They're not letting her go. Is it right? Black girl go. They're pushing her. They're not letting her go. They're not letting her go. Is it right? Is it right? They're not letting the black girl.
Okay, let's just hold it right there while I finish. But these will be the very ones that come over here. These are the very ones who are now fighting for our reparations because they want us to remain what you see in these videos in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Not all, but enough. As we told you, Russia continues to invade Ukraine, and the military there is trying its best to defend itself while Western allies keep putting the financial squeeze on Putin and his people. We've heard countless stories of bordering countries and their residents receiving Ukrainian refugees with open arms. It's a shame that might not be happening everywhere. Yeah, see, this white supremacist racism is all over the country, all over the world. And yet, in this country, freedmen black are the only ones practicing Pan-Africanism. They don't give a damn about us. They just want us to continue to take the L's for their come up. I repeat, here in Southern California, they disaggregated the data in 2016. African blacks had $152,000 in total assets compared to freedmen blacks, $30,000. They were $60,000 liquid to our $200. In 2016, Color of Wealth LA report, you can pull it down, a free PDF for yourself to check my math. We were 44% degreed then. They were 58.9% degreed. Their median income was $115,000 to our median income at $53,500. Okay. Today, our median income here in the state of California is around $35,000 to $40,000. Okay. These immigrants are, because I keep educating you guys, the color of white in this country is green. And as long as you hate freedmen, you are welcome. So let's get into this other article where New York, just 2 days after Psaki said, oh, we'll take some, but they really need to go to Europe. New York orders Russia sanctions, welcomes Ukraine refugees, family. Let me share my screen. This is what happens when we don't do politics. When we don't take over locally and at the state and at the federal levels, when we don't play politics, when we don't vote for reparations like Tamara Johnson Shealy, when we don't support them financially, Marcel Dixon, when we don't do that, these immigrants get to take it over. And like Dr. Claude Anderson said at the top of my broadcast, if you think you didn't get anything as a second largest group, you ain't got nothing coming when they make you the permanent bottom caste. Let's get into it. Good evening, Tanya Princess. I see you, fam. I'm going to stop that and share this. So let me pull this up so I can read it and keep the title there for you all. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. If you feel so compelled, bless the broadcast. It enables me to edutain the masses as I advocate for Freedmen reparations exclusively. Thank you. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, definitely not Freedman. Well, she ain't Freedman at all. She's a white woman. But I mean, that's an immigrant last name. Signed an executive order Sunday forbidding her state from doing business with Russia, including canceling its investments there. The governor also said New York will welcome Ukrainian refugees in response to Russia's invasion, noting at a press conference in Albany that her state is home to the largest Ukrainian population in the U.S. Quote, "We have said we'll open up our hearts, our homes, our resources to the people of the Ukraine to say we stand with you," Hochul said. Federal estimates show that around 140,000 of the more than 1 million people in the U.S. who report Ukrainian ancestry live in New York. Federal estimates show that around 140,000 of the more than 1 million people in the U.S. who report Ukrainian ancestry live in New York. Quote, "If you need a place to stay, you want to come over, we will help you become integrated into our community," she said, "as we have been open to so many other refugees in the past, including those from Afghanistan most recently." You see, they should have sent Afghanis to damn Europe. But they bring their freedmen-hating asses, anti-freedmen asses to this country to whiten the browning of this country with 3 Ks. And they're making them more American than us with our reparations. Let me keep going. Hochul didn't immediately get into specifics regarding her state's economic sanctions against Moscow, including how much the state has invested in Russian entities, but pointed out that New York's economy is larger than that of Russia. You see, they are driving freedmen black out of the state of New York. It's akin to California, where we've gone from 17 to 3%, and now we're in a fight for our own reparations against the African blacks, who are 300 times more liquid since 2016. They're more likely 1,000 times more liquid since COVID, or greater. And so you've got Seneca Village. That Central Park used to be ours, used to be freedmen black. They have driven so many freedmen black out while giving our reparations and our land to white and POC oppressors. This is a perfect time to segue into this one that I've been meaning to bring y'all for the longest. It keeps Black Sue New York for illegal vote. I'm going to finish this one and then get into this one. It's a great segue. It's on my spirit. Thought I would do a separate broadcast, and I still might, and get into some history of Seneca Village with you all. But right now, Spirit is saying, introduce this. It's a perfect segue. So you see them. This is the whitening of the browning of America. I guess to make it more palpable for poor whites to feel like they're empowered. As they had the highest rates of suicide per opioid addiction. Their whiteness has always made them feel better. And they're too stupid to see that a poor white is just as powerless, not even just as powerless. A poor white still has even more wealth than a poor freedman. But you still are crippled financially. And you too stuck on your white privilege, which ain't a privilege for you. You so stuck on that you can't see that they are oppressing you with white immigrants too. Just look at how the Asians are about 20, 30,000 higher in median incomes. But you somehow feel like your whiteness makes you privileged. You keep telling yourself that lie. Keep going. The governor's executive order means the state will not permit its own investment activity, whether directly or indirectly, to aid Russia as it commits these human rights violations and atrocities. Ukraine filed a case at the UN highest court accusing Russia of planning genocide. What's different about that than the genocide that's been planned in the making since we were free to our own peril in this country? Why haven't the CBC filed a case at the UN about the U.S. ethno-genociding freedmen in a myriad of ways in which they continue to do? We strongly condemn the action of Putin and Russia for this unprovoked attack, which is now leading to atrocities against innocent human beings, and that is not tolerable, Hochul said. Where is the CBC to fight for us the way these white folks fight for each other? New York sanctions follow those issued by President Joe Biden last week, targeting Russia's financial system. Biden said the U.S. will block assets of large Russian banks, impose export controls aimed at the nation's high-tech needs, and sanction its business oligarchs. What's up, Danielle? I see you, DJ Segwan. Long time, fam. Oh, Lord. It was not immediately known how much money the sanctions could represent, but Hochul said she wants state agencies to review contracts and assets to be sure that taxpayer money isn't being used to indirectly fund Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. Hochul ordered state agencies to divest money and assets from investments in companies or institutions determined to be a Russian or supporting entity, and she forbid the state from doing business with such entities. The executive order defined a supporting entity as any institution or company that is aiding Russia in its war against the Ukraine. Where's our CBC? Where are our Congressional Black Caucus members? Oh, somewhere fighting for more immigrants and refugees to get more of our reparations because their pockets are lined. Their whole line is set at the expense of the majority of freedmen who are left out in the cold to wither away to death under the oppressive boot of white supremacy in the country our ancestors built with their lives. I can't believe I'm at 6:52. So I want to introduce this last article before I come. What's up, BB? I see you, fam. Let me introduce this last article before I pray. Before I tell you, I want to read some of your comments. And then I want to share Dr. Claude Anderson's support of my Freedmen voter strategy with you. And I want to pray us out. Stand by, family. Let me stop this share and share this other. Let me share this other screen. Just a second. Share this other headline. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, family. Welcome to the live. Here we go. Let me make sure everything is centered. Okay, Black voters sue New York City over non-citizen voting, claim it violates civil rights laws. Democrats pushing voting rights for non-citizens. Let's see.
Drinking water before bed reverses diabetes in just 4 weeks.
Oh God, I hate these
People are
commercials.
eliminating their type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes by adding this one ingredient to their glass of water before bed. That's what Allison, a 49-year-old mother, was able to do using this new diabetes.
Please
I
skip.
think like Kenny G. I'm sorry. I apologize. I admit it. I'm against lyrics. While Democrats continue to claim Republicans are killing voting in America, they need to take a look in the mirror, like giving immigrants the right to vote, illegal immigrants. It's happening in major liberal enclaves.
Legal, not illegal.
What?
Legal immigrants.
Can I continue?
Yeah, but don't
All
distort
right.
the
Major
script.
liberal enclaves like New York City, which just approved giving 800,000 non-citizens, is that okay, Robert?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. The right to cast ballots in local elections. Is this open ever going to be over? 14 other smaller jurisdictions have similar laws. And even leading Democrats like House Democrat Hakeem Jeffries says he fully supports the idea. So is there a worse idea on the planet than diminishing the idea of citizenship in America, Jesse?
Defund the police, maybe.
Okay,
That's all I can
number
think
two.
of.
How dare you?
You know, Geraldo, come on.
Yes.
You can't push non-citizens to vote in U.S. elections. You can't do that. You wonder why the Republicans were suspicious about the ballots in 2020
And opening
when
up
you
the
guys
southern
are
border?
openly pushing non-citizens, foreign nationals,
You are making
to
an
vote in
assumption.
American elections.
Yeah,
What if I swam across the Rio Grande and just started voting in Mexico?
No, they throw,
If
you,
enough,
in jail. They throw you in jail so fast you
they
wouldn't know what
would.
hit
Can I
you.
just
How
point
about we
something
get
out?
all of my friends, we go swim over to Mexico, and we
Right.
vote so they build a wall for
Right.
us? Could
Most
that
of your,
work? I
most
mean,
of your
this is
friends
what we're
can't
talking
swim.
about.
The other thing, you can't assume he has an opinion. You can't open up and start arguing with him without him talking.
Oh,
It's
he's looking at
against
me
the
funny.
rules of the
He
fight.
already was up in your grill in the intro.
This is a
Yeah.
toxic assumption. The road
Exactly.
to hell paved with toxic
No,
assumptions.
you know,
I
You
believe
think this is a bad move, right?
I believe that the right to vote is a sacred right
Thank you.
of citizenship.
yes.
And I am opposed to this idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was arguing for nothing.
I'm opposed to
That's
this
my
idea,
point.
Mr. Smarty Pants, because it dilutes the power of the vote and it discourages people from that path towards citizenship
Yep.
when they're here legally to work hard. And there's a tradition, and when they get sworn in, it's such a life-affirming tradition in the United States.
Geraldo.
And New York passing this non-citizen right to vote, New York would vote to abolish the army. If it was on the ballot, they would vote to.
I apologize for
I
jumping down
apologize.
your throat.
All right.
But
That,
you were
that
just
was,
like,
that was
you know,
very good
making
for
moves.
rehearsal.
He was
but
making
now we're
moves.
live on television now. Dana, in the real world, we're actually commenting about how people feel. Don't have to project. How do you feel about this? And are we heading this direction?
I think that you'll find that it will be as popular as defund the police, but it's also something that is never going to happen. Number one, Kamala Harris is in charge.
Well, locally
of
it
this
could happen,
effort.
right?
Well, yeah, but what we're talking
They'll
about
sue.
is that the
National.
Democrats and Biden's team is now saying, Build Back Better, because they're not going to be able to get it done. They're saying that the voting rights bill is the most important thing to do. This will now become, and the media will follow in this line of thinking, the most important bill in front of the Congress right now is the voting rights one. But the problem is it doesn't really have a lot to do with voting rights. Like they're basically saying, they don't like voter ID. Okay.
Most Americans
they
do.
don't like the other thing they want to do is they want to divert public money, taxpayer money, to political campaigns. It's a very unpopular idea, but they don't want to talk about that. They just want to say voting. Everybody is for legally being able to vote.
We have to give
properly.
crazy Bernie's campaign money.
That's exactly what they want to do.
No, but that's the law
the
now.
judge get in
Giving
because she
money.
will sue. She's litigious by nature. Judge, go ahead.
I used to swear in newly naturalized citizens. It was the best day of their lives. It was the best day as a judge of my day because I was always sending people to jail. But they love America. They swear allegiance to this country. They know our history. They know more about American history than most Americans do. Okay, they worked hard. They paid for it. They waited in line. They deserve to vote, and they've earned their citizenship. These people have not earned it. If anything, you talk about, the results of the Democrats' actions. Well, this is it, baby. This is it. We're opening up the borders, and now what we're going to do is we're going to start the soft effort, and we're going to have the non-legal or the green card holders vote, and that's local elections. Pretty soon they're going to be voting in federal elections. This is just the beginning.
So I think
when we gave them licenses to drive, that's a point of identification that they can use to register to vote. And I got to tell you, this whole idea, all of a sudden, they know the Democrats have been sinking in everything. Everything's 60%. Everybody's against Joe Biden.
Right.
All of a sudden, they had to turn it around. The GOP is killing your voting rights.
Right.
They had to turn it around,
Georgia and
get on
Texas.
the offense.
Right. I think everything you said is good. I think we all kind of agree. I don't have I married Kurt Vonnegut's daughter story, but I do have something that is relevant for this. I spent Wednesday on Ellis Island with Michael Wiles, who's an immigration attorney and a historian, walking through. And he tends to lean left. To me, he's a Democrat, but he said, I am not for this. And here's why. He goes, you swear an oath to the country. Until you swear that oath, how dare you give up the right to vote? And almost every immigrant says one of the sacred things, the thing they look forward to most after they get in is voting. And that's why I said this is a non-starter. Right. Okay.
You know who represented John Lennon in the deportation?
His dad.
His dad. Michael Wiles' dad.
Yes. Yes.
And
I was the witness. I was one of the witnesses.
Did you ask Kurt Vonnegut?
I'm stopping that because it's going on way too long and I don't want a copyright strike. But I do want to make a comment. Just a second, family. Let me turn that off.
If you missed that, because we're talking about a lot of things, right?
I want to finish the article out, and then I want to make some comments before I finish the article. Okay, so first of all, oh shoot, oh God, I hate these things. I just can't stand it. All this stuff going off. I swear, these pop-ups. First of all, let's talk about how immigration doesn't hurt white folks the way that it does freedmen, because they've killed and stolen all the wealth. They share in hundreds of trillions of dollars that they were able to return on the investment of our ancestors' heinous chattel slavery. So immigration doesn't hurt them the way it hurts us. And you see how careful they were to refer to them as non-citizens. These are illegals. They crossed the border illegal, and within 30 days had the right to vote in New York. So do know, as they're sitting up here talking, they're absolutely right. The Democrats are hypocrites. They're absolute hypocrites when they call out the puckery by the Republican Party to suppress our vote, when this and other measures surrounding refugee and illegals getting the right to vote without being citizens also suppresses our vote. And now that we've been neutralized economically, the Biden administration is looking toward giving our reparations to these immigrant and refugees to make them more American than us so they can have the right to vote. They're literally buying the vote from these refugees and immigrants alike with our reparations while telling us they can't give us reparations, no to reparations, and you've got Barack Obama to thank for that. Y'all's Jesus, Barack Obama, his no has just set a domino effect that I don't know when we'll get out from under for federal reparations. Because we're really in a very intense fight down here to get reparations for California, and we've gone from 17 to around 3%. We've been legislating about this piece. And that's what's happening in New York. Let's go back to the article so I can finish reading it. I'm over time. I'm over time. But I've already started this, so let me finish. I may still do a separate vid. You know, I don't want this to be buried, but it was so important to do this as we speak of how Biden is using more of our reparations to make Ukrainians whole. You need to know that. Uh-oh, what just happened? Oh, God. Hold on, family. Yeah. As the boot is on our jugular.
If you have psoriatic arthritis, Enbrel helps relieve joint pain, helps stop joint damage, and helps skin get clearer. Enbrel may lower your ability to fight infections. Serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, other cancers, nervous system and blood disorders, and allergic reactions have occurred. Tell your doctor if you've been someplace where fungal infections are.
Okay, just give me a second, fam. It's very tricky. They have a lot of pop-ups, and I'm a one-woman show. Okay, a one-woman broadcast. Okay, I wanted to make sure that was on your screen. I'm going to make myself a little bigger at this point. Okay, I'm coming to read y'all's comments. Let me finish this article just so I can put an exclamation point on today's broadcast and put a nice, neat bow on the topic. A group of Black New Yorkers sued the Big Apple's Board of Elections, claiming that the new law allowing non-citizens to cast ballots in local elections violates federal civil rights laws because the New York City Council passed the law in order to strengthen the voting power of certain racial groups, diluting the votes of other groups. Quote, they explicitly used race as a factor of demarking the voter groups that they wanted to give this privilege to, and that is a direct violation of the 15th Amendment. Former Ohio Secretary of State Ken Blackwell, a member of the board of directors at the Public Interest Legal Foundation, otherwise known as PILF, which filed the lawsuit, told Fox News. The 15th Amendment states that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Discriminatory intent may be established by proof that race was a motivating factor by proponents of the law, the lawsuit states. Overwhelming direct and circumstantial evidence exists that the Foreign Citizen Voting Bill was enacted with an impermissible racial intent. The lawsuit cites Council Member Ydanis Rodriguez, a sponsor of the bill, into Intro 1867-A, who said in Spanish that the bill would increase the power of Hispanics and Asians. The lawsuit also claimed that Council Member Antonio Reynoso also framed the legislation along racial lines. When white power or white men's power is being attacked, what they consider being attacked, they stand up and they fight, he said, while advocating for the bill. They fight to preserve their power and their influence, have to stop and think about this sea of mostly white men that has stood up against this bill at this moment in an effort to preserve their power and influence. And that is exactly what will happen every time you challenge power. Excuse me. Don't the Hispanics and Asians slip in and out of POC and whiteness to their advantage? So they can do what? Stay in power. The lawsuit also cites then Council President Lori Kumbo, who noted that the bill is going to shift the power dynamics in New York City in a major way. And we do not have the numbers or the information to know how that is going to impact African American communities who have been the most vulnerable in their existence in New York City. I've never heard in this one discussion about how is the African American voter going to be impacted by this bill. They're going to be impacted exactly as it's intended, to neutralize the black vote, so much so they no longer need you. And that's why the Democrats are using our reparations to make immigrants and refugees the new black in America with 3 Ks. These will be your new POC and black white oppressors. The lawsuit notes that the city council passed the bill despite such concerns. According to the 2019 American Community Survey of the U.S. Census, 1,219,776 foreign nationals reside in Bronx, Kings, New York, and Queens counties. And of that total, 488,030 are Hispanic and 343,018 are Asian. New York City has approximately 5 million active registered voters, so foreign citizen voters could make up 15% or more of the electorate in future local elections, the lawsuit notes. This is greater than the margin of victory in many municipal elections. And I'm curious, because they flatten African Americanness, they flatten blackness. Don't forget that Barack Obama is Kenyan African and white as a descendant on his mama's side of slave owners. That makes him African American in the same way the current descendants of slave traders out of Africa are also deemed African American. This is why I refer to us as freedmen. U.S. freedmen, American freedmen, we are freedmen. You do not want any part of these grifting words to flatten blackness. Because of the people remaining, given these numbers, I'd be curious to know how many freedmen black are still in the state of New York. They've been driven out, akin to how they've been driven out here from being a sanctuary state to Hispanics and everybody else. Literally a great migration back south to try to have some semblance of a life until they take that over, which they are well on their way. It is discriminatory and unconstitutional on its face, Blackwell said of the law. I am confident that this is a case that these plaintiffs will win. And this is what we need to be doing all over the country, family. We shouldn't just be sitting in the gas chamber waiting for our extinction from the country our ancestors built with their lives. These lawsuits need to be all over the country where illegals have obtained the right to vote. Quote, by their chosen language and the argument that they chose to advance this, they gave us a constitutional basis on which to challenge this law, the PILF board member told Fox News Digital. As former mayor of Cincinnati, Ohio, Blackwell told Fox News that he has serious problems with the erosion of American citizenship involved in allowing non-citizens to vote. Well, this is what 87% of our electorate voted for when they put no Biden, and Kabami in the White House. We keep showing up to the polls to continue to vote blue, no matter damn who, to our own extinction. And I'm sounding the alarm over here at the Reparations Perspective. We can't just have our eye on reparations. We got to have our eye on all the buckery, because we are in the middle of the circle being squeezed from all directions. While municipalities, wait, let me see. So we keep voting for this. While municipalities might have the right to let aliens vote on municipal issues, they don't have the right to dilute the electoral power of an American citizen on the basis of race, he concluded. The New York City Board of Elections did not respond to Fox News Digital's request for comment by press time. I'm coming, y'all. Make sure you come back tomorrow. It's going to be fire. I'm going to talk about the Democrats, Clarence Thomas pick, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. It's going to be lit. You don't want to miss it. Now, when I move the times around, family, it's because I'm detained in court. Y'all got to bear with me and give me some grace. Sometimes I can say 3, but if I'm caught up in court, I got to get to you when I can get to you. I'm trying to get on top of all the puckery, because it just keeps, more of it just keeps coming out daily. So please, I beg your patience when I have to change the time from, say, 3 to 6. It's because I'm in court. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get, okay. I want to share with you guys what Dr. Claude Anderson had to say about it. Here they come. These hot damn trolls. Let me share my screen. I'll clean up the rest when I get over there, y'all. This is why we need a voter strategy. Hold on.
The Republican Party withdraw from the Democratic Party. We're going to start a national black party in this country, because right now I can show you how to win any election you want. And all you got to do is don't run into candidates. You just simply say, we will vote for any candidate, regardless of his color, or religion, if he promises and delivers the most benefits to black folk in terms of resources, things that are measurable and tangible. We don't want any more of these mystical things. There's nothing but symbolism and reaction to white racism. We want to have things that we can count and go to the bank and measure. We're looking for money and everything else. We're going to build our own economy, our own black communities. We're going to start that, and we're going to go across this nation and get every black to say, get out of the Democratic Party, get out of the Republican Party. They've taken you for granted. They're not going to do anything for you. They never have. I've run campaigns for two presidents. I run campaigns for governors and mayors and attorney generals and state legislators. And I've never found anybody that would stand up and say, I'm here to support black people. And I do it because sometimes maybe because I haven't got any better sense. I've done this for 60-something years, and I'm going to continue to do it until I die. But I'm trying to show you how to cut it short, to just deal strictly with the material. That is, as blacks be put into a protected class. Secondly, get you a national black party. Get you a national black party. And 3, that you don't take anything that does not relate to money and resources and opportunities. Civil rights and social integration are divisive things that would split you up and divide you. Stay away from social integration and civil rights. Those things cannot help black folk. They have been taken over now by immigrants coming to this country. That's why they get credit for anything they want in this country by claiming that they're included and that they're equal to black folk. They're not equal to black folk. Black folk only control control 1/2 or 1% of anything in this country. That's exactly where you were at the end of slavery in 1863. Get away from that and say, no, we want tangible, measurable things. And you start with right now with Biden. Biden right now got into office because of black folk. He's already said he and Harris that they'll never do anything for black folk in terms of reparations and those things. Do not vote for anybody who would not support black folk. I don't care whether it's the highest, lowest offices to the highest offices. Don't do it. And you vote strictly as a block.
So, Dr. Anderson, can I ask you a question about the voting strategy? I'm sorry to jump back in on it, but let me ask you, because you're making a very, very important point that I want to make sure that we highlight. That you said do not vote for anyone who's not in favor of black interests. We right now are pushing a closed border state. We are now pushing closed borders, period, because that is an absolute imminent threat when it comes to our community. And that is our voting strategy as we move forward into the midterm elections and then to the presidential election. How do you feel about the closed border strategy?
I'm totally in favor of it. From the community level to the national level, you set aside your property and make you build your community, and you market and close it. Market and close it, just like the Asians do. They mark Chinatown.
Thank you.
Everybody mark their towns with us. If you go across this country, you can find a little Korea, a little China, a little Howling, or anything. You can find.
I'm so glad he's still alive and he doesn't wake up.
So I'm sorry, Dr. Anderson. I hate to cut.
Okay, family, there you have it. He was in support. He is in support. That was a recent broadcast with Black Diamond on Sankofa Radio, which is a national, I think it might even be international radio show, national and international. But Dr. Claude Anderson was a guest recently, and he is in full support of my Freedmen voter strategy. Family, you will have nobody but yourself to blame if you don't invoke a strategy. We are out of time. And the strategy is vote for closed border candidates only, including Marcel Dixon to replace Clyburn in South Carolina and Tamara Johnson-Shealy to replace Warnock in Georgia. These are two full-chested cash reparationists that have been in this movement from its inception. It's the only two Democrats that I support. The rest have got to go. And so let me help you understand something. If you don't show up to the polls, or if you continue voting third parties that will never win in this two-party oligarchical system, you are voting for the extinction of your own people. So, you got to find who are the closed border candidates. Party be damned. Party be damned. I don't care if you like or hate Trump. He had these borders under control, and I didn't see him giving a bazillion. He may not have given us anything, but he certainly wasn't giving away our reparations to all these white and POC groups, refugee and immigrant alike. So we need to show up in Obama-style numbers and turn out this midterm so that the Democrats can clearly see who gave them their Freedman ass to kiss, akin to what they're doing to us. Let me look at a few of your comments before I pray us out. Hold on, family. Welcome to the live, Petty AF. I'm just flabbergasted at all of this. And to think of it, Biden sure is giving a lot of money to everybody else except for us, knowing they owe us trillions upon trillions of dollars. Well, sis, or bruh, I don't really know which. Welcome to the live. Understand that Thomas Kramer, his number has this country owing on the very low end, 6.2 quadrillion. That's based on an hourly wage of 3 cents an hour. 3 cents an hour. I want to say about 15 to 18 hours a day, compounded at 6% from 1776 to 1865. So it's not trillions, darling. We are owed just for slavery at 3 cents an hour, 15 to 18 hours a day, compounded at 6% between 1776 and 1865. 6.2 quadrillion. So do understand that the reparations I'm fighting for is not just for slavery, but for Jim Crow and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. 6.2 quadrillion is on the very low end. Derek, welcome to the live, my love. They're going to give them our reparations and put them over us to pimp us like a $2 hoe. That's really the plan, family. They've already neutralized us economically. They've made us bottom caste in this country. And this fight for reparations, it's not just a debt that it is owed. It's the only way we're going to make it. We're not going to make it without it. You're going to see more and more of us dying off or being placed in the not so new slavery in the private prison industrial complex. That's what they've earmarked for us. So they are on a track to ethno-genocide us to as few in numbers as the Indians. And then once they get us down to about 3%, they may talk about giving us a Maya Angelou quarter with a slaveholder on the front of it. Good evening, Tanya Princess Jones. Welcome to the live, my love. We're coming to get our checks. Oh, yeah, we're listen. Understand that these glacier donkey ethno-genocidal plans for our group specifically are big, but the God in each and every one of us is bigger, and we are continuing to lean in. And we are continuing to make these demands. And New Black Media, myself included in that group, we don't sleep. That's why you see me out here every day pushing my Freedmen voter strategy. The movement takes cat naps. Between now and 2024, it is what it is. So continue to lean in, family. We can't afford to give in, up, or out. And turn away from the naysayers who tell you it will never happen. Had we listened to their asses, we'd still be on the cotton fields, and sleeping on the ground with mud cloth on our backs. That itchy stuff, potato sacks. So you can't afford to listen to people to tell you it's never going to happen. You will not have the strength for this long fight if you listen to the negative Neds and Nancy. Let them do that with their clan. Because what I'm going to tell you, they're not going to do. They're not going to send us those direct deposits to our P.O. boxes. Once we, those of us who are putting in the work, procure reparations. Peace, DJ Segwan. I see you, fam. Danielle, she's watching and working. I thank you so much, love. Salute, dearest. Thank you, my love. BB, I see you, fam. Danielle says, no, they don't. They know whitewashed history. Oh, yeah, they've whitewashed the history, all right. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but the history has absolutely been whitewashed. I mean, let's just look at Africa and look at Egypt. I went to see a film last night called Death on the Nile. It was a beautiful movie, beautiful costumes, beautiful. I mean, they were in Egypt. It doesn't get any better than the pyramids. And I marveled at the noses that had been broken and the full lips. You know this is our people, and this is our genius, and this is what we come from. And they've whitewashed it. These glacier donkeys whitewash everything, so it is up to us to keep the truth alive, family. That's on us. Each one, reach for one and teach one, okay? DJ Segwan, after listening to that Fox News story, the DNC political pundits in the tri-state are officially enemies of the state, NYC. Oh, yes, all over the country, family. The current no Biden administration is an enemy of the state. Okay? I can't think of the word. This influx of illegals and refugees is an invasion. As no Biden gives, ask Congress for $6.4 billion to go and protect the borders of Ukraine. As they give the Africans their ass to kiss, to freeze in the cold. They don't give a damn if you're a student. They don't give you a damn if you're a woman. You're starting to see their Nazi come through, and we, as America with 3 Ks, the KKK, are in bed with Nazis of Ukraine, with our tax dollars. And now, New York City has become an enemy of the state to freedmen black, while offering to take in more white refugees to drive us further out, to enrich them with our reparations, to gentrify us right up out the state, akin to how Hispanics have done here in the state of California. Danielle says, exactly, Angela. I was thinking the same thing. They are sitting around chuckling and cackling about it all. Their families are going to be just fine. You better know it. Our black white oppressors and our white oppressors and our POC white oppressors that run government and are on these news stations are going to sleep quite well. This is the albatross of freedmen. Immigration is freedmen's albatross. He had no right to speak on our reparations. I don't know who spoke on it, my love. Did I read something like that? Darling, I'm working on fumes. I'm not really sure what you're referencing. If you're still here, type it in the chat. I'll get to it. Danielle says, no problem about your time. Whenever you show up is just fine. Thank you, my love. I really appreciate you for the grace. The whitewash comment was in response to Fox News woman saying immigrants know more about American history than most Americans. You are absolutely right, family. I heard that part too. Yes. This is why it's important, family, to listen to conservative news channels and also to listen to international news like the BBC. You're not going to get the truth from the democratically ran media like the Clinton News Network with 3 Ks, CNN, MSNBC, CBS. You're not going to get the truth. You must look at conservative news to get an inkling more of the truth than you would on the democratically run and operated news outlets. But even greater, places like Al Jazeera, BBC, Democracy Now! These are better places to get The Hill. These are places to get a little bit more. They're not necessarily all conservative outlets, but I do listen to Fox to hear the puckery of the Democratic Party. They're going to tell you the truth like they just did about the Voter Rights Act. What's up, Shannon Kim? Let me see you, fam. There are a lot of Nazis in Poland. Oh, yes. They know damn well those students not welcome there. They're attending a Ukrainian university as it's the cheapest in Europe for medical school, the student visa. Thank you for sharing, Shannon Kim. Another one of my beautiful, brilliant political minds in the chat. You guys are my co-hosts. I thank you for coming over here and sharing your insight. They need to go back home to Africa, not here. Are you talking about the Ukrainians? I'm not sure which. DJ Segwan says, KKK, colonizers, conquering kingdoms. I just coined that, LOL. But we family, t-shirt, that I'll buy one. Keep it coming, family. We are creative geniuses. We are the brilliance in the world. Freedman Black, all of them, says Shanna. They all need to go back home, not here. You better know it, fam. And with that being said, family, I am over time. I'm at 90 minutes. I want you to know that the light of God surrounds us The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freeman and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God, you are the voice of God, you are the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. If no one's told you today, family, know this, that I love you black. I love you so strong, family. Until we meet again tomorrow to talk about the Democrats, Clarence Thomas Pitt, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. I want you to make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening. And I bid you peace, love, and reparations, reparations, reparations. Yes, family. I'm out.